In objective 4, we're taking our order of operations just one step further. So before we can do that, I want to make sure that you are clear on a few terms. The first one is this term constant. So a constant is a fixed or unchanging number. It's something that is constant. It won't change. A variable is one that can change. Typically, we use a single letter to represent a variable. This variable can be any letter that we want. And what we've been dealing with so far is what's called algebraic expressions, which is a collection of constants, variables, operations, and our grouping with no equal sign. So for example, this is an expression 6ab. This is another expression, 5m minus 6 or 9n. This is another expression. So they contain a mixture of constants and variables. And so what we're going to do now is evaluate algebraic expressions. So expressions can be simplified. They cannot be solved. We're not solving for a variable. So what we are going to be doing is evaluating an expression, which means that we are going to be replacing variables with given numbers. So for example, if I have 5m minus 9n, I'm going to be replacing the m and the n. What that means is that I'm going to put a number in for these variables. When you put your variable in, or your number in for your variable, make sure you put brackets to replace the variable, because then it keeps everything neat and consistent. So I'm going to put in -4 for m. I'm going to put in a 5 for n. And now I'm back to the start of order of operations. So I'm going to do my multiplication. So 5 times -4 is -20. And then I've got -9 times 5 is -45. Then I've got -20 plus -45 or -20 minus 45, same sign. So I'm going to add the numbers. I get 65 because they're both negative. It's going to be -65. All right, then we can have one with fractions. So again, first thing I'm going to do is just replace all the variables with brackets so that I know where to sub in. So for m, I'm going to put in -4. For n, I'm going to put in 5. And for p, I'm going to put in -6. And then I'm just going to do as I did in the other questions. I'm going to evaluate my numerator. So -4, and then I've got 2 times 5 is 10. In the denominator, I could do my multiplication to get -24. And then I'm going to do my addition in my numerator. So I get 6 over -24. Now that doesn't divide evenly, but I can simplify. So if you look at both of these numbers, 6 is a factor of each. And so I can take out a 6. So whether you're liking doing this, this is kind of factoring, which is something we're going to do a bit later, but some people can see that I'm doing 6 divided by 6 is 1. It's a common factor. But regardless of how you show your work, my answer is -1/4. All right, pause the video, see if you can give this one a go. So hopefully you did pause it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is replace all my variables with brackets. Okay, so in for m, I was putting in -4. In for n, I was putting in 5. And in for q, I was putting in 25. So what do I solve first? Well, I solve my exponents. So I've got -3 times -4 cubed, which is -4 times -4 times -4, or -64. And then I'm going to look at this exponent as well. So I've got 5 squared is 25. Again, this negative is not being squared, just the 5. If you forgot the bracket, you might do it wrong. And then this is a square root, which acts as a bracket or as exponent. So the square root of 25 is 5. Now I'm going to do my multiplication. So I've got -3 times -64 is 192. And then I've got -25 times 5, which is 125. Then I can do my subtraction. I get 192 minus 125 leaves me with 67 as a simplified answer. All right, that is 8.3, or R.3.